Welcome back for another episode. Today we're going to talk about vintage Selmer Paris clarinet mouthpieces. There's three distinct types. Older models, like this one, you can see has the emblem below the lines on the lower part of the mouthpiece so the ligature doesn't scrape over it. And what you see on the back side is you'll see a marking in here on the table itself of the mouthpiece tip opening. In this case, it's H star, a single star. And what you see basically in the center tone era is the emblem moved up into the ligature area, and we have the HS star in a circle still on the table. You ever buy refurbished mouthpieces, refaced mouthpieces, and it's the more vintage ones, you want to look for those identifiers on the table itself, and hopefully they're not wiped away. Anyways, one more common type later in, you had the emblem on the top, and below the lines you have the, in this case, is HS double star, I believe. This is double star, so it's a little bit more open than the HS star. This is basically what I prefer, HS double stars with Selmer mouthpieces. Those are the three basic types. Let's go over my website now where I have a bunch of pictures of them. All right, here's my website. It's actually on my laptop, my older one, which just has more color and a little bit better. So with this, I'm not, when I say first generation, basically this is bypassing the wood mouthpieces they had earlier than that. But first generation, this is a HS star, identified by the old Selmer oval emblem, and we're talking about the older Selmer emblem. A lot of people are used to the Selmer emblem with the crest around it. This is a mouthpiece that has a round emblem that's more buffet crampon-like. As you can see here, it says H Selmer Paris, and then dots around it. This is the old Selmer emblem. I had one of these. I sold it probably 10 years ago. As you can see, this is the oldest emblem that there is. And this also had on the table itself, had the mouthpiece facing HS single stars we see here. Now you look down the throat, and the throat is throat's called basically an A, where the top, as it goes down, it angles out and opens up a bit more. This, when you have H throats where they're vertical, they can be really thin, which gives you really focused tone. And as it gets wider, then they create an A. So it starts in H, gets wider, then it creates an A frame. The A frame gives you more spread and lets you push more air through the instrument, more volume, more easily than you would a really shallow H frame. And this is just basically the tip. Nothing there to really see. Now there's also an airflow era, the second generation, and this is considered the special edition mouthpiece and lasted a few years in conjunction with the Selmer saxophone airflow models. This model started the table markings, and this model has H double star. It also says precision guarantee on it. Lower ligature lines, H Selmer in script. And this is about the same era, like I mentioned, like the Selmer Johnston mouthpieces. I have some of the Selmer Johnston. I had one for clarinet and one for saxophone. So you can see here, it says precision guarantee, table HS double star on the mouthpiece table itself. As I reference here, Barb Tucker from Howard Music gave it to me. I don't remember when that was, 15, 20 years ago. And the neat thing about this mouthpiece itself is it has the Henry Selmer in script below the ligature line, and had I think it was a metal insert drilled into the top here. Now here we have, I put down the 2.5 generation and model 36 Johnston-Selmer, New York. And I'm not sure where to put this because it was a basic Selmer USA model released with the advertising Mr. Johnson touting the SBA saxophone at the time. Around 1936 I have in here, with the lower emblem Selmer Paris mouthpieces. And I can't find a France stamp anywhere on it make it a Paris model, but it is marked HS star at the base table, just like the first generation Paris. So this could just be a USA model. But you can see the throat is basically a really wide H and slightly A frame. The reason that reason at the top it can't get too wide is you got the window portion at the very top. You can't really increase that, so they can only increase the bottom portion of it. At the base of the table, it had HS star in it. And on the mouthpiece itself had model 36 and Johnston-Selmer below the ligature line. Moving down a bit, we have the third generation identified by the new Selmer logo on the lower body part. Throat is the same A-type frame. The word table HS is imprinted on the table. To the right of the table is a brand measuring system, which Selmer adopted and used since 1938 on all Selmer and Selmer-sponsored mouthpieces. And this numbering system allows you to understand the exact measurements of the original facing. The first two numbers represent the length of the lay in half millimeters. Second, the last three digits is the tip opening in hundredths of a millimeter. Now, this pre-1931 is before the brand measuring system. We can just see on the table HS star. And we see the lower emblem. Post-1938, with the brand measuring system, we can see here we have on the table itself, the table HS single star, and below that the numbers 3, 4, which is the first half of the measuring system, and 101. Of course, there's a lower emblem one. And you look at the throat, you see it's more like an A throat. Like I mentioned before, the top of the throat can only get so wide because of the window, the top window where the facing is, but the bottom you make it wider and wider. Fourth generation, where the logo is moved towards the middle of the body, though it's still high in comparison to modern Selmer mouthpieces. The table HS is now inside of an oval in the table. The throat is much more vertical sidewalls in previous versions, and the wall is still wide apart in comparison to other models. These were apparently provided with the Selmer center tone clarinets through the 1960s. We see here HS single star with a upper emblem. It says made in France on the bottom. And a bad picture of the throat. Camera's focusing the wrong thing, but it's a really wide H throat. Fifth generation, I've down Selmer emblem still high up on the body, but now HS star is identified on the front of the mouthpiece under the second ligature line. And apparently from 1960s and on, it was this way. You can see the H, completely vertical sidewalls. Nothing on the backside on the table. And everything, you got the Selmer emblem, HS star made in France below the first ligature line. Sixth generation, I have the Selmer emblem. In this case, it's a double star, HS double star model. It's slightly lower, though not in the middle of later models. This is a larger tip, like I mentioned, HS double star. I prefer HS double stars over the single star, but you know, depends upon the clarinet too. The location of the HS emblem may be a quirk with just HS table, nothing on the table. The front of it, you got the emblem, HS double star made in France. And here's the throat. Okay, what I have down as the sixth generation is the Selmer emblem is moved to the middle between the ligature lines, and the HS stars move more downwards from the second ligature lines. And the HS star font is now larger than previous generations. Take a quick look, nothing on the table. On the back end, front end, the HS star is larger, emblem and stuff like this. And look at the throat, you know, and it's a slight A frame. It's a little bit wider than an H frame. But if you actually look at it closely, you see the left side looks like it's more A than the right side, which looks like an H. So maybe this was just a error in manufacturing. We get to the Selmer Crystal Clarion, and this had Selmer on the side, which as you can see indents around it. Clarion on the opposite side. A couple more pictures here we'll go through. And I'm going to cover crystal mouthpieces more when I do the O'Brien ones. but this has etchings on the table, which we'll get to in just a second here. You can see etchings on the table here of the side, of the size. This etching on the table is HS single star. Once again, the sides of the mouthpiece, Selmer Clarion. Then we have a Selmer Crystal from 1980-ish, whereas this is all using describing the information on the mouthpiece itself. If you notice, it has the copper end cap, which is another thing from O'Brien. Had written on the top, I think, Henry Selmer on the top here. What I have here is Selmer later model, a beautiful sounding O'Brien. And this one, I have to find it because this is actually a longer mouthpiece than normal. Mouthpieces are normally like this, but this one's actually longer. And it gave it a much warmer, more center tonal quality, but the response was fantastic from low range, altissimo. I forgot what it looked like. It's in one of my clarinet cases. As Selmer on the top here. You can see it's kind of like a rounded A-frame. Interesting design. And this shows you, not quite, but it shows you how much taller it is from a regular mouthpiece. I haven't seen very many of these. As a matter of fact, I've only seen one, the one that I have. Then we get to later Selmer Crystals. They're made by Pomarico at one time. They have specific designation 2-1 crystal. And they're marketed in the mid-1990s as Selmer New Crystal at facings 1, 2, 3, 4. Later 4 and 5 were dropped. And on the tables that are identified, Italy was etched on them. Anyway, here's some more information I have about model designation and tip opening. There were A's, which is 17.5 millimeters. A star, 16.5, seems backwards. HS is 18, B star is 18, C is 19, C star is 19. If you look at the left-hand side, that's the facing, then the tip opening. So you can see the C single star and C double star. Actually, as you can see from C to C single star, C double star had the same tip opening, but the facing was short, medium, long. D, E, F, G, H, and then the H single and double star, you see the same tip opening, but different facings. Like D was 1.2, 1.3 for E, 1.4 for F, 1.5 for G. H single and double star went from 0.92 to 1 to 1.2. Then there's an S, which was a 17 millimeter tip opening. Then you got two more modern ones, the C85s, which is the C85 105 was 1.05 facing, 115 was 1.15 facing, 120 was a 1.2 facing, all 19 millimeter openings. Then the CP 100s, once again, 118 was 1.18, 1.22, 1.25, I believe. I think that's a typo in there. 27 tip openings. From the Selmer catalog, I copied here. Other information. See, E soprano, B contrabass, standard facing was B star. Imagine that. 200 is a E flat soprano, 201 B flat clarinet, motto 202 alto clarinet, 203 bass clarinet, 205, 4 and 205 contra alto and contrabass clarinets. C85s, of course, I mentioned. Model numbers are 220, 221, 223. And the CP 100s. Now, this is a 1931 tip opening chart. And we can see down here, let's look at the clarinet mouthpiece facings. This A is short and closed. A star like A, but more tip open at the tip. S is short and open. HS medium short and closed. HS single star medium short, but more open at the tip. HS double star medium short, very open at the tip. B has a medium lengthened opening, B star, B, but more open at the tip. C, medium long lay. C, single star, like C, but more open to the tip. And here was their basic chart here. So you can see C, C star at the bottom, HS, single star through B, B star, HS, HS star also right here, AA star, S over here. So you can see the facing is shorter and shorter and shorter. And then the tip openings we see here, and the tip openings we see here, close tip opening is A and HS. As it goes around to the right-hand side, it becomes more open. This probably would have been clearer if it was actually swapped over the other way. But there we go, a quick review of vintage Selmer Paris clarinet and some USA clarinet mouthpieces. Don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.